What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the Fantasy Tap. It is time for a semi-new segment. We are doing buy or sell. We've got 20 players. Yes, that's right. You heard me right. 20 players that we are going to talk about, whether we are buying them or selling them. John, you ready for this?
I'm very ready for it. And
That's good.
I'm super excited.
That's good. That's good.
Some of these rosters. Obviously, everyone's going to be hitting those bye weeks. You're going to have a bunch of people that are out. Mike has told me already he's got a league where he's got 10 players that are either on bye week, on IR, or not participating this week. And while we were getting ready, I checked one of my rosters, and I actually had 12 if you include taxi squads in that dynasty.
Yeah, no, I have 10 just on IR or out. That doesn't include my bye weeks.
Well, yes. That's rough.
I think I have 6 more on bye weeks. So it's pretty rough in that league. It is a dynasty league. So not fun whatsoever. I actually can't even start a full roster. So
and that's what's the best part about this is the time of season when people realize you can't just hoard these players on your bench when they're injured.
Yep.
You got to find replacements eventually. So
exactly. So
start trading these high-end guys away.
Yes, 100%. So real quick, this is kind of the premise of it. Buy or sell. Buying being guys, obviously, that we are either keeping if you already have them or going after and getting. They might not be high-end targets. You might not have to spend a lot for them. But overall, these are guys we want on our team. As far as selling goes, we don't want them on our team. Get rid of them. Doesn't mean cut them. See if you can trade them. A lot of these guys, you're not going to want to just cut most of them.
I don't think there's anyone that's purely cuttable on this list.
Yeah. So don't take it as, oh, you know what? They said to sell them and nobody will buy them. So I'm just going to cut them. No, that's not how this works. It's just kind of gauging where we are at. So before we jump into this, if you could smash that like button, subscribe button, and the little bell icon, that's 3. I started counting it 2. And so you get notified every time we drop a video. Also, we go live
to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, subscribe. I said that already though.
Okay.
I realized it mid sentence. Sundays at noon Eastern, we go live to answer your start sit questions. So make sure you tune into that, and then also join our Discord. It is growing. We talk fantasy football. We also talk sports betting, DFS. We all try to give John wardrobe advice. He doesn't take it, but we give it to him.
I've decided to look ugly the rest of my life, and I'm happy with that choice.
Well, I don't think there's much about you. You can't do much about your face, but you can definitely do something about your clothes, John. Just kidding. I love you. All right. People probably think like I'm the biggest dick. Yeah.
You guys are only half right.
Yeah. See, he gives it back to me. So she said. All right, let's jump into buy or sell. First guy, Sam MF and Darnold. John, are you buying or selling Sam Darnold?
I think I'm actually going to buy Sam Darnold as my second quarterback. If I only have one guy on my team, I want to ride out in the playoffs with someone who I am confident with. Obviously, Sam Darnold's not the guy you're confident to start every week. But if you hit that past that trade deadline and you end up being one of the people that are scouring through the waivers every week trying to stream a quarterback because your guy's on IR, Sam Darnold might not be there, and I think he's one of the best options for you, especially with the schedule that he has by the end of the season. Finishing up week 12 with Miami before hitting bye week in 13, and then going up against Atlanta, Buffalo, Tampa Bay. Obviously, Buffalo, Tampa Bay's defense is very strong and stout, but have been allowing teams to let the receivers flourish against them. So I'm going to hold on to Sam Darnold as my backup plan.
Yeah, I'm not going to agree with you here. I am selling Sam Darnold. Honestly, he's close to cuttable for me. He's one of the guys on this list that's close to cuttable. I think the honeymoon's over with Sam Darnold. I think this whole team is kind of starting to get on their last leg. I know he just strung 2 bad weeks to get in a row. I know he came out guns a-blazing. I don't see it happening. He can't get on the same page with Robbie Anderson. Really, DJ Moore is the only one he's got a decent connection with, and unfortunately, I don't see the value in him that he gave us the first 3 weeks or first 4 weeks. So I'm gonna be selling Sam Darnold.
And you just mentioned, I know we weren't going to be talking about cuts, but you mentioned it. You said he's close to cuttable for you. So if you're not able to get any trade value from him, are you keeping him or are you cutting him?
It depends on who my other quarterback is. If I have like Taylor Heineke, I'll keep him. But if I have Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, somebody like that, I'll cut him.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on. Our second and our last quarterback, Justin Fields. Currently quarterback 32. Not doing too good. Did have his best week though, fantasy wise this past week, which is nice. I was talking to you a little bit about it before. I was listening to like the NFL Sirius XM or something like that. They mentioned that the way that offense is moving, they really think Matt Nagy was like full steam ahead on Andy Dalton and didn't even plan for Justin Fields to come in at any point because it looks rough. Are you buying or selling him, John?
I'm actively trying to trade him away to that person that believes in him. He's one of the players where I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, this guy's going to suck rest of the season. If you play him, you're going to lose your week. He's definitely going to have some games with some flashes. I myself do not want to be in a situation where I'm chasing those games, trying to wait for him to finally break out and see when he does. I'm just going to sell him off before the hype's completely gone from him and before the trade deadline comes up because, again, he's nearly cuttable for me with the performance we've gotten.
Yeah, I agree. I am selling him as well. Listen to his next 4 opponents: Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Then he has Detroit, which is nice. But then after that, I know I said 6 or 4, but then he has Arizona. So 1 out of freaking 6 games is decent. Plus, he's got a bye week in there. So sell. He's a sell for me.
Absolutely.
All right. Somebody who is talked about a ton because he was the number 1 overall pick in fantasy football. Christian McCaffrey. John, buy or sell Christian McCaffrey? Is this a time to scoop him?
I think.
I think
this is a buy and sell. This is
let
me explain. This is a sell if you're the one who drafted him, didn't pick up Chuba Hubbard, and now you're scrounging for some sort of stability in your roster between other injuries. I'm in a league myself where I ended up with the first pick. I've got Christian McCaffrey, and I actually have a bunch of holes at other positions. I think it'd be a great time for me to try to sell him off, maybe fill a couple of those other holes. So I have lower end players at those positions or higher end players than I do now, but I don't have Christian McCaffrey. If I don't have him though, that means I didn't spend a higher end draft pick on someone that hasn't been here for me all season. Probably pretty solid on the roster. If my roster's looking pretty good, I don't have any holes on it, I'm going to chase after that guy that's looking to do what I'm personally trying to do. So I think that depending on your situation, he could be a great buy pickup because by end of season, he might be something. But if you're 2-4 right now, 3-3, don't go trying to sell your team off to pick him up because you're going to have weeks and weeks without him at this point.
You know, I agree with that analysis wholeheartedly. I do. I get what you're saying. I agree. I agree with you there. I think he could be a buy or sell depending upon your situation. It's probably not the just look at your situation and kind of go off what John said. I couldn't put it any better than that. Chase Edmonds, John, RB21, buy or sell. Let's go.
I'm selling him off. I don't trust that offense any more than I did before we started week 1. James Conner sniped so many of those touchdowns out of his hands. And though he's been getting that pass catching work, I just don't see him being anything that you're comfortable with or producing more than he has already.
Yeah, I'm going to sell as well. James Conner is getting the bulk of the carries. And then, yes, Chase Edmonds is getting the passing work, but there are so many targets in that offense that his passing volumes, it's few and far between. It's not going to be consistent. And that's really what you need from Chase Edmonds, especially for him to keep, up that like he did the first four weeks. So you got Rondell Moore there. You've got AJ Green, Christian Kirk, and of course DeAndre Hopkins. And guess who they just added? They just added Zach Ertz. So I'm selling Chase Edmonds as well. I do not trust him.
I think you got to do it.
Yep. You know who is next, John? That is Daryl Henderson, the current running back 12, baby. I actually have him in my zero running back season series. It's one of my zero running backs. He is the piece de la resistance, if you will.
And I will. No, absolutely. If you got Daryl Henderson, you're not selling him off. You're holding on to him. And if you're in a redraft situation, I think you are trying to make some buy offers for him. He's one of the only running backs where you can almost guarantee nearly 20 touches a game. He's getting a heavy workload and a very explosive offense. Pretty much everything you want out of the guy. I think you are absolutely trying to buy Henderson at this point. Rest of the season.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. He's currently 12th in the NFL in carries. He's got 81 carries, 16.2 per game, and he is currently 9th in rushing yards, averaging 74.4 rushing yards per game. Sign me up. Sign me up. Even with Sony Michel there, he still had 21 rushing attempts this past week against the Giants. He's got Detroit, Houston, and Tennessee coming up the next 3 weeks. And then he's got some nice matchups sprinkled in. Jacksonville, Arizona, Seattle, Minnesota, unfortunately Baltimore to end the season. But overall, I think I'm buying Daryl Henderson anywhere I can.
Love to hear it.
Yeah. Myles Gaskin. Talk about a roller coaster. He's the Tyler Lockett of running backs.
That is a really great comparison. Here one week and gone the next.
Yes, completely. How do you put up a 32-point week 1 week and then a 2.4-point week the next week?
You get told that, hey, we're not handing you the ball. We're going to hand it to this other guy.
No, he had the same amount of rushes. 5 rushes.
Sorry, we're not going to run this same out route in the flat that you scored off of twice the previous week.
Yeah, true. Dolphins suck.
Mike is a volatile fan.
I love him. That's why I got him tattooed on my body.
Mike is. Everyone's in a relationship with their favorite sports team.
Yeah.
Mike is in a very abusive one and very toxic
triangle, if you will.
There's a very toxic relationships with the Dolphins. Me and the Dolphins we're
It's a triangle. The love for my Dolphins, my hate for the Dolphins, and me.
It's a circle. There are no edges.
Yeah, right. There's a bunch of edges I'm about to jump off of. No, I'm kidding. So Myles Gaskin, buy or sell?
Thinking that I'm going to be trying to sell him, being that he just came off of that big week the other time. But I'm not looking to get pennies on the dollar for him. I'm not trying to get whatever I can take whatever I can get. As I do think that there's situations where Myles Gaskin could end up being a high-end running back in fantasy football. All it's going to take is an injury from one of the other running backs or them to actually decide to primarily focus on one of them. So I don't think it's not a fire sale, but if I get offers and someone gives me something for him that's reasonable, I'll take it.
Okay, so this sucks. I'm buying him. I think they can really use him in the offense, and if they get to using him, I've said it before, and this is me being a fan. He's the best running back on the damn team, most talented. I'm buying him. I think if they can get to using him right, he could be a league winner in the fact that he could fill that flex option RB2. He's got tremendous upside, and it sucks. It hurts my heart but they're not using him correctly. And if they do, you can you'll benefit from it. He's also cheap. He's also super freaking cheap. I mean, people are borderline cutting him. I mean, 2 weeks ago when he's put up 0.3 against Indy, it was everybody, boom, cut him. Then he put up 32 points. Now I put up 2.4. Check your waiver wire. I'd buy him.
Yeah, I'd grab him off the waivers for sure.
I'd even throw a low ball offer out there.
Ruin some friendships.
Next Miles on the list. Miles Sanders, running back 33. And other than Jalen Hurts, I mean, does Nick Sirianni know you can run the ball? You're allowed to run the ball in the NFL.
They run it. He gets touches. Not a huge volume, but he gets touches. The problem is he's not getting touchdowns. He's not getting in the end zone. Jalen Hurts is the leading touchdown scorer on that team. It's despicable, in my opinion.
Quite. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to look. He is currently 31st in the league with carries, 57. He's averaging 9.5 a game. That's not going to get it done.
It's not terrible, though.
That is terrible.
It's not terrible.
That is terrible.
31st in the league when there's 32 teams. It's not terrible.
That is terrible. 9.5 rushing attempts per game. 9.5. You want to see Miles Sanders, whose average is great. He's literally only one game has he averaged less than 4 yards a carry.
Exactly. I'm agreeing with you.
No, I know.
They need to use him more.
Right.
But
it just hurts.
Let's say the but here. The but here is, are we buying or selling him? I'm selling him the hell off. I don't want any part of any of this Eagles offense, other than the quarterback situation. And like I said, it's because he's just not getting the touchdowns. No one is, other than Kenneth Gainwell and some random passes and Jalen Hurts running it in. If he gets touchdowns in a lot of these weeks, you're looking at a completely different story.
I wouldn't say completely, but I think he'd be more usable. And similarly to Myles Gaskin, the reason I'm not going to sell him is because you're not going to get shit for him. You're not going to get dookie. You can maybe throw him onto the back end of a deal and somebody will take it. So at that rate, I'm looking to buy low. I'm going to buy him and hope they use him correctly. I'm not going to spend a lot on him. That's it. But if I can scoop him for cheap, I'm buying him. Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, Brandon. This is a freaking. I was so excited for this episode. Now it's just hurting my heart. Brandon Ayuk, first wide receiver, currently wide receiver. Guess what? 93. 93, John.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this one really short and sweet. You're holding on to him because you're not going to get anything for him, and the event which Debo goes down while Kittle's down will turn into a wide receiver one on that week. Yeah. You got to hold on to him. If you've got him, I would definitely not go out of my way to go pick him up off someone.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. Don't drop him though. Do not drop Brandon Ayuk. He's currently rostered in only 66% of leagues. So, this guy, interesting, still a couple weeks out. Michael Thomas. He is eligible to return this week, I believe, or the week after. But he's still a couple weeks out from returning from that injury. Are you buying or selling, John?
With Michael Thomas, I think you're holding him. Even though we were looking at possibly him not even coming back until the fantasy playoffs, I think you've held him. He's someone that you've held literally throughout the entirety of the season. And unless you're getting like great offers for him, which I'm not expecting people to be sending right now, I think you're kind of stuck with him at this point.
So you're buying him. It's not buy, hold, sell.
It's holding,
buy or sell.
You're buying him if you're in a situation with the stacked team. The same people going out there and buying Christian McCaffrey off people. You should be looking at Michael Thomas.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that. Michael Pittman, another Michael, wide receiver 32. I'm selling his ass. T.Y. Hilton did get banged up at the end of the game, but he's okay. And that offense is so up and down. I just meh. Now, there was a stretch of games where Michael Pittman was that team's lead receiver, but with T.Y. Hilton back, I wasn't as nervous about him before, but unfortunately I am now. Also, they have Zach Pascal, who showed he can be a competent receiver. Paris Campbell is back on IR. Crying face. So I am selling Michael Pittman. I actually saw in our listener league, Michael Pittman was moved and he picked up T. Higgins. I'll do that all day.
I'd take T. Higgins on that. And yeah, I think Michael Pittman's someone that you should be trading away. I think there's a lot of value associated with that name right now, especially after a couple decent weeks and a long stretch of some solid weeks. Get rid of him before the trade deadline and bolster your roster. There's better value out there.
All right. Julio Jones, buy or sell. I'm selling. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Julio's not Julio anymore. Maybe you can get some name value. He did have an injury near the end of the game. So his status is up in the air as of right now, but I'm selling Julio Jones. I don't think he is day to day. So I'm selling Julio. He's not it. And that Titans offense is
Derrick. It's Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
It's Derrick Henry.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about another Eagle, Devonta Smith, currently wide receiver 39. John, are you buying or selling?
I'm selling because I feel like there's people out there that are willing to spend a lot for him, and I'm not someone that trusts him. I probably wouldn't play him unless I had a horrible buy situation. And at that point, I think it's smarter for people like me to just sell him away and get some value for him.
All right. Well, I'm going to be buying him. He just had his lowest targets on the year against Tampa Bay. Only 4. This is his first time in his NFL career, John, under 5 targets.
Wow. All 5, yes. All 6 games.
Yeah, all 6 games. So I'm buying Davonte Smith. They just got rid of Zach Ertz, who's getting 6 targets consistently the last three weeks. I think it's good for Goddard, and I think it's good for Devonta Smith. Yes, I don't think I know he doesn't have that touchdown upside. But he does have the yardage upside. I mean, we've seen it. He put up 122 yards in week 4 against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I like Devonta Smith. I'm buying him.
Okay.
Jamar Chase, wide receiver 5. I was wrong. I'm sorry. John, are you buying or selling?
He's a buy. He's a buy candidate. He's definitely popped off very highly. The problem is that I think he might be too expensive at this point to be worth the value you're going to have to give up for him. But if you've got him, you're definitely not selling him.
Yeah,
unless you get offered Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm a buy, but I'm not chasing him. Yes. Because I do think he can come back down to earth. Especially with T. Higgins there. T. Higgins was out for a little bit. So I am definitely I'm on the buy train, but I'm not overpaying. Also, John, I just want to say, you know how we were talking about if you spelled his name right earlier?
I'm listening.
There's 2 R's, not 1. So it wasn't just the apostrophe. So all right, let's move on to Allen Robinson, somebody who's had a very down year. Was supposed to be quarterback proof.
Yeah. No, he's absolutely not quarterback proof so far this season.
That's mean.
I mean, what are you going to say? He's had absolutely terrible play through Andy Dalton, terrible play through Jalen Hurts. Or through Justin Fields. I don't think that's too mean. That's
not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the little note you just typed me on our little. That's rude. Allen Robinson, yeah, I'm selling. You maybe get some, name recognition. I just don't think the offense is firing on all cylinders. It's sad. It's sad. Allen Robinson,
It is.
like I said, it's supposed to be.
Question: would you take a trade if you had Allen Robinson and someone offered you Darnell Mooney?
Ooh, I like Darnell Mooney. He's had
Mooney.
He's had over 30% of the snap share the last 3 weeks.
It's I think it's somewhere around like the 40s. The first week that Justin Fields took over, he was like 48%. It's mainly the fact that Justin Fields hasn't been throwing a lot.
Well, he's still getting targeted.
Yeah, he's almost half of them.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like Darnell Mooney. I think they have something going. Yeah, I think I would. That's kind of weird, but Kadarius Toney, one of the most hyped guys coming into this week, and then got injured on the first drive. Had 3 catches on 3 targets in the first drive, and then got hurt. Are you buying or selling Kadarius Toney?
I think I'm selling him. He's got a lot of value associated to that name right now. And even though he was only playing 8% of the snaps and still got 3 targets in that limited amount of time with Sterling Shepard in there as well. I think that I'm going to take whatever value I can get for him and not expect him to be that wide receiver 1 every week, because I don't expect Shepard to be out rest of the season. I don't expect Slayton to be out rest of the season. That Shepard's already back. So
he only played 8% because
he got injured
on the first drive.
Yeah, no, I understand. And I'm saying he played the 8% and got 3 targets and 3 catches in that 8%.
Right.
Showing that he's highly targeted even in that limited run. But I'm selling him on the fact that he's been such highly targeted and produced so well in that week without Shepard and without Slayton that I'm going to take the value on him and run. I don't trust Eli. I don't trust Daniel Jones, Eli Manning Jr. Too much to keep up with Shepard and Toney, who, if he merges, I think it's going to hurt both their ceilings, and I don't think either one of them is going to fade away.
I think Sterling Shepard would fade away. I really do. If Kenny Golladay came back, I'm buying Kadarius Toney. I think with the injury that he had and the injury he had at the beginning of the year, I think people are a little worried. Yes, I do think, he does have a lot of hype around him. He is supposed to miss at least 1 game, so you might be able to get him for a decent value. I'm not going out there and selling my friggin' or mortgaging my house on him, but I do want a couple of shares of Kadarius Toney, and I didn't draft him. Sad. But I think he is somebody that could, down the stretch, really, really help your team and solidify a flex spot, wide receiver spot, something like that. So I'm buying Kadarius Toney. So let's move over to our tight ends before we get out of here. We've got George Kittle coming up first, tight end 21. John, are you buying or selling?
I'm going to call this a buy because really I'm holding. Not someone I'm going out and targeting. I will throw some low ball offers out there due to his injury and the fact that he hasn't performed spectacularly so far this season. But if I've got him, I'm not selling him off. I'm not going to get rid of him because when he comes back, he's still going to be a very solid tight end for you, especially if we see Trey Lance take over there completely later in the season. Still questionable what that connection is really going to look like. And I don't want to sell it off now when there could be a huge potential later.
Yeah, I think as long as I'm sturdy at tight end for now, I'll buy. But if I'm weak in some spots and I can get a nice offer for George Kittle, I'd sell him at that point. But I'm more of a buy or a hold, like a buy hold kind of guy, I think, right now.
Yeah.
He could really. I mean, he's George Kittle. I talked about it at the beginning of the year. He gets injured because of the way he plays. So he's very, very physical. So, he's got a couple weeks still on IR, but if he can come back and really put up those George Kittle numbers, you're going to benefit tremendously from it. Rob Gronkowski, tight end 10. Are you buying or selling this guy?
I'm buying.
Gronk.
I think he's going to be a little bit cheaper because he's been injured the past few weeks. Not spending up on him, but if he's on a trade block, I'll send an offer out there. The way him and Brady connect is absolutely disgusting and beautiful if he's on your fantasy team.
Yes.
So get a shot of that, get a share of that, and take it all you can.
Yeah, I'm buying. I'm heavy on the buy train. I will go out and get him, especially if I have a shaky tight end spot. You might miss him for you probably won't have him until week 10. If you're on a team that you're looking good, you're 4-2 or 5-1 or better, and he's somebody that can help you in the playoffs and really win the championship. I think he's somebody you go grab. Now, if I'm 3-3 and I need to win now, or less or worse, then I might stay away from him, just because I need to win now. But I think if you have the luxury of getting him and holding him until he comes back, he could help you down the stretch. TJ Hawkinson, currently the tight end 6, was a little banged up, but still had a solid week. John, I'm buying this guy.
You got to.
Yeah, he's just he's a monster. He's getting targeted out the wazoo. He's pretty much the team's go-to.
Yeah, but you have to. The injuries have really held him back from being the tight end that he was drafted to be at this point, and plus the fact that Jared Goff still has had a hard time in Detroit so far this season. I think that we're only going to see an uptick from here, and the value of TJ Hawkinson's going to be at its lowest throughout the season right now.
Yeah.
So buy up on it.
I agree. He's currently 3rd in routes run, with 196 routes run, running a ton, or running a ton of routes. So love to see that. Love to see it. Let's see. Yeah, he's good. And finally, our last guy, somebody who's doing pretty well the last couple of weeks. Ricky Seals-Jones, an interesting name. Buy or sell?
All right. So I added him to the list last minute because I'm just curious, and my personal take on him. Obviously, he was added to replace Logan Thomas in Washington and has been getting targeted up the butt like Logan has.
Up the butt.
Yes. So if you were lucky enough to pick him up the waiver wire, because I know for a fact none of you drafted this guy. If you picked him up off the waiver wire and you have a tight end, I'm selling Ricky Seals-Jones right now. Logan Thomas is only a handful of weeks away from coming back, and once that happens, we're not going to be getting anywhere near the production that we get right now. So if you're solid at the tight end and just grabbed him for the depth piece, sell him off before the trade deadline. See what you can get. He is a great piece, in my opinion, to use in a trade as just that extra piece. That, okay, hey, you didn't like my offer? What about that offer plus Ricky Seals-Jones? Help your tight end situation.
Yeah. I'm selling Ricky. I'm selling Ricky because he is going to have this much value. I'm holding up a 0. By the time once Logan Thomas comes back, he's got some value now. Might have another week or 2 of relevancy. So sell him while you can. See what you can get with him. See if you can add him, like John said, to a trade, and get somebody else. So, anyways, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was our buy or sell episode. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, subscribe again. And then don't forget to join our Discord. That link is in the description. And don't forget, lastly, noon Eastern Sunday, live stream, baby. John, do you have anything to say to the folk?
Nothing other than just make sure you guys are checking out all the other content coming out for the rest of the week, as it's just going to be filled with a bunch of great stuff. Remember, trade deadlines, get those trade offers out there. Don't let people take advantage of you. Make sure you guys are keeping up with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
We love you guys. Bye-bye.